In our society, we're constantly bombarded with visual imagery and information. So naturally, we learn to overlook these things and take a lot of these things for granted. But I wonder what will happen to our perspectives once the process of design is revealed that lies behind these everyday objects. I believe that if we view these products of design in a different light, with the perspective of designers, that we will find that these products are skillfully crafted and highly inspired. In order to gain valuable insight into the design process, I interviewed two of my friends, architectural student Nick Brown and industrial design student Kristen Sakis. How do you usually first come up with an idea for a project?
First, I know I like music. I know I like kind of fashion in a way. I know I like really interesting objects. So whenever I hear a project or something, I just look through books, and I don't like reading because I think it takes too much time. I like the visuals, and I can kind of use my own previous experience and what I've been through and to really try to create something cool that shows my personality. So then I start from there, and then I think about like the design requirements, like how much square footage or what's the concept behind this. Are we doing a house, or are we doing an intervention for a neighborhood? And then I go into more of the project details, and then I go from there.
When we start off on projects, it's kind of nice to start a design very like blue sky ideas, like things that probably would never work, but you're just trying to be creative with it and say like, oh, how can we solve this problem in a new way? And the more creative and like crazy your ideas are is nice, because you can always pull back with your designs. You can never it's hard to push forward if you're kind of stuck. So when I start off, I would say it's like really creative, and then when you start to kind of hone in on the idea that you're going to go for, it starts to get a little bit more logical, like how's this actually going to work? Is it going to work? Is it cost effective? Will people feel comfortable using it? And so I think that part, you start to get a little bit more logical about it, but there's still creativity throughout the entire time.
In the government, they're kind of pushing for a high-speed train rail, and Chicago is one of the locations and where it would be a connection where pretty much Chicago would be the main hub for the train, for the high-speed train rail. So I was thinking about I know our location is Millennium Park for this particular project, and what I wanted to do, what I researched in the area, is no restaurants feasible for everyone, meaning that it's no in a 3-block radius.
Yeah.
You're in the park, we get hungry. I don't want to walk 3 blocks to go to a Bennigan's where I have to pay $18 for a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Why not have restaurants in the social environment where it's for everyone? You don't have to pay $30 for a burger. You can really show what Chicago has to offer. And an international train station, so people can really see the different type of restaurants Chicago have, but it'd be more about a social interactive. So what this has, it has a relationship to the park, so you could come to the train station, but you could also walk on the green roof and actually relax and chill, and it's kind of spread open, so you can kind of see the train coming, and you can see all the movement that's occurring, and make it a cool environment and cool space to see what's going on.
I was designing a faucet for the restroom at the O'Hare Airport in Chicago, and what I really wanted to do with this faucet, evoke a sense of welcoming. Because I thought to myself, okay, get off the airplane, what's the first thing you might do? Go to the bathroom. And if this is your first time in just Chicago or even in the country, the faucet should probably welcome you. So what I wanted to do with that is, instead of going with maybe something, a form that would make you think about welcoming, I was thinking about welcoming people by taking inspiration from the actual city and designing this faucet.
So you were inspired by Woodstock. How did that come about?
Because I guess with Woodstock, it has a lot to do with people, interacting with people. It's an environment. It's an event. We like to go to concerts. How can you bring that eventful type feeling to the train station? So I really looked at how people interacted with that and how the park has a huge interaction, especially with the beam, urban cloud, I think that's what it's called. How can we bring that to a train station so it won't look like a typical Joe train station?
The reason I took the inspiration from the beam is because it's a really symbolic icon of Chicago, and like everyone knows about the beam. And like when you see the beam, you just like want to run up to it and like look at yourself and touch it and take pictures with it. So there's just like something about the beam that really attracts people. And I wanted just inspiration from that form and just kind of, I got that in my design. And I was actually inspired by the way that the road was reflected in the beam, and that kind of gave me the inspiration for the profile of my faucet.
Well, I don't know how everybody else is, but I don't design boxes. So when my engineer buddies or my friend is not an architect, they say, well, all you do is make some boxes. I want to curse right now, but I don't know if that's appropriate. But I don't design boxes.
I don't think people really understand what all goes into it, and when you tell people like, oh, I'm in product design, they're just like, oh, so you just design things pretty. And you're like, no, there's so much more to it.
I like to really twist, carve, and I really like to carve into the space, because when you do stuff like that for your projects, not only are you learning how to create an architecture, but you're developing a craft that you can apply to pretty much anything. You can apply it to, like, if you're creating some furniture, some industrial design type stuff. So that's how I feel.
I think the importance of sketching is so people can see what you see in your mind. So when I'm trying to like design something, it's really hard to tell someone like, oh, it kind of be like this and it'd be the curve here. It's just like a lot easier to just draw it. And so when I'm designing, we have to like draw a lot, because you're thinking. That's how we think, by drawing. And I think that's what you show with your sketches. And the thing is, like, you'll have so many sketches that no one will ever actually really look at for a long time, because you're just like, oh, and here's little thumbnails of all the sketches I did, but here's a really important one. You'll do like 100 drawings and have like that one that you really liked.
Just know that I have a certain type of style that I go for, and I just don't limit myself to only architecture. This is like my testing ground to really test things I really didn't think was possible. Or do architecture, you're developing good communication skills. You're developing the technical background to do the conceptualization and the technical drawings to actually build it. So I think just you think about all these different types of things that can apply in design and apply that to other fields as well.
I think the interesting thing is how much people don't realize industrial design touches their lives. Like even just the camera that you're videotaping with, like they thought about hand size. Like all different hand sizes. Is this going to fit in someone's hand if they have really tiny hands? What about people with large hands? You know, what's the angle between the screen and your eyes? Like you think about everything. I mean, it's all about, I feel, more like the experience. And I think that's what I really like about industrial design. You're not just designing a product, you're designing an experience.